Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I've never done a video podcast, so I'm thrilled.
First one in the books.
Yes,
you look great.
thank you.
Just rush over from Fuze House. You would never know.
Oh my God,
you clean
I
up
know.
well.
Thank you. It took a while.
So I was thinking about how I know you, and I've been like going back. I'm like, how did I even like think about Makena in the first place? And I just think I've seen your trajectory through social media, and it seems like recently you've really hit that growth spurt of becoming a really well-known fitness instructor in the city. We have so many mutual friends, so I'm really excited to get to learn a little bit more about you. And it's the holidays, so definitely a really interesting time as a fitness instructor and as someone that's struggled with food and your relationship with food in the past. So I feel like there's a lot that we can chat about.
So much to unpack.
My friend actually went out with you recently, and she said,
Oh, I thought you meant went out like on a date. I was like, wait.
you're like, I have a boyfriend.
Oh my gosh, wait, who?
Did you go out with my friend?
No, seriously, what?
No, my friend went out with you and said she was like, Makena is a mini celebrity in New York. Like, I felt like I was with a famous person because everyone knew you. So I was like, I need to
It's so funny because a lot of the girlies take my class. So anyone like mid-20s, early 30s around the city just recognize me. And it's like, sometimes I don't even know their name, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so cool. Like,
yeah.
But it's cool to cultivate that type of following. Like, all around my age, they're all super sweet girls, like that are into fitness, wellness, all these things, but also balance the going out, the going to restaurants, and like the New York City lifestyle.
It's important. Balance is key, especially in the city. So who is Makena? Tell us more about yourself.
Well, I'm from California, so born, raised San Diego. I loved Southern California, like the beach, the ocean, hiking was like my jam. Always was super active. I was a dancer growing up, so dance and theater. So those are my two things. But I always had this inkling to go into medicine. So I wanted to go to UC Davis, which was in Northern California, which I didn't love. I was definitely like missing home. But I studied pre-med there. Well, they didn't have a pre-med program, but it was basically biochem was my major there. And it was impossible. It was so hard. But like through that, those like beginning classes, like nutrition, like biology, chemistry, all these things. And I just kind of fell in love with nutrition. And that kind of got me into like the health and wellness realm, I would say. I did dance team there. So I was always still like active and everything, but I did join a sorority, and I think it kind of derailed me in a sense. Like I was trying to fit in, drinking a lot, going out with these girls, but then I got into a relationship, and I kind of stopped the partying, stopped the drinking, and he was so into fitness. So as a little side gig, I was like, I'm going to start teaching like at this bar studio, Pure Bar, which is like obviously huge. But so that kind of introduced me to like the whole fitness realm of things in terms of like becoming an instructor. And it was more just like to make money and also work out. It was like, this is so easy. Like I don't have much time to get income. So that was my intro to becoming a fitness instructor. But I never knew it would turn into something big.
Yeah. I mean, did you ever expect that you would have a traditional 9-to-5? Or
I mean, I wanted like to be a doctor. Like I wanted to be in a hospital. I wanted to be like, go, emergency room. Like I was so into that. I did all the internships, even starting in high school, like in hospitals, all the shadowing. But when I thought about moving to New York City, I was like, okay, I'll do med school in New York. Like that's where I want to be. But after thinking about it, I'm like, this is so much time of my life, like going to school and like continuing this education and like so much money when I could be doing something I already know I love and I'm obsessed with, which was fitness. If you're not
passionate about medicine, it's
brutal.
Not worth it for your life.
And like, I feel like I'm helping people in the same like wellness, health, like industry. Like I feel like I'm prepping people so they do not have to go to the hospital and they don't have to like, you know, be overweight and have this like burden on them, like where they don't want to move. And I just want to create an environment where people are passionate about their health, like, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And in a healthy manner too.
Yes,
I feel like that's
completely.
Definitely the important aspect there as well. So yeah, I feel like since I've been following you and your journey, I love how authentic you are, and you're very much so yourself on social media. I can imagine it's like really hard to be vulnerable on social media. So when did you feel like you could come out and kind of expose that side of yourself?
It was definitely before I even like was a fitness instructor. I had a really bad eating disorder in college. It was like at the start of COVID, and that forced me to go home because I was just like extremely underweight to be living alone at UC Davis, like with no supervision. Like no one was really there. Everyone went home. So super underweight. My parents saw me and they were like, what the hell? They hadn't seen me in 6 months, like since Christmas or something. And they were shocked with how thin I got in such little time. And they were like, you need to go to a nutritionist and a therapist to kind of figure out what's going on. And I remember my nutritionist was just kind of helping me look past certain things with food. And one of that was like, oh, you should be journaling or like creating recipes you really like. So that kind of kickstarted the whole Instagram. Like it used to be called Made by Makena. I would post recipes I liked or things I enjoyed making, all these things to kind of keep me on track. I'd post little workouts, but that helped me become vulnerable, but there was never really a following with it. It was more so for myself. And then when I continued posting more and more, I would open up about like how I was never like completely sober, but I did take a break from drinking for a while, and I opened up about that. All the sorority girls were like, you're crazy. Like I was still like, I think I had just turned 22, wasn't drinking, and posting about that was vulnerable because I know I lost friends and there was judgment behind that. But I think coming to New York, still being super thin and kind of going through these like fitness auditions and everything, and working out with people in group fitness classes that now I'm teaching, people have obviously seen me gain weight like from when they first met me. And I think there was a lot of questions about that. I even had some people say like, you used to be so thin, like in a positive way. And in like the locker rooms at the gym, like whatever, like what did you do? Or like, why did that happen? And I don't know if it was people being oblivious or even just, I don't know why it came up, but I was like, I should really talk about this on social media because I never want to be putting that thought into people's head where you're like, you need to be the thinnest person or you need to lose weight and all these things. Like I want people to feel strong and empowered when they leave my class. So going back to the people that do take my class, these mid-20s, early 30s, 30-year-old women, I think it's so important to, speak on that because a lot of people don't in the industry. And I think a lot of people assume you get to where you are from genetics or like all these things. And it's like, it took work to gain weight and muscle, which is like not what everyone thinks people want to do. But like I was so underweight. There needed to be progress and intention with becoming a healthier version of myself. So being vulnerable on Instagram kind of inspired me to talk about it more in person too at my events and kind of just make it like a focal point of my brand.
Yeah, and I think that makes you so relatable to all of the women out here, especially because, like you said, most of your clients are female in the city.
Definitely.
I mean, you said so much that I want to just dig into a little bit more. But when you started training in New York and becoming a fitness instructor, were you really underweight and unhealthy at that time?
I transferred from Pure Barre Davis to Pure Barre New York City. So I was teaching like occasionally in the city. It was not a full-time job at Pure Barre here. So definitely underweight there, continuing to gain weight. My parents were very apprehensive for me to move across the country alone, not knowing anyone. Like no one could check up on me. No one could help me if I needed help. So it was definitely a risk moving here at like the weight I was, but I was so in love with New York. Like I would do anything to move here. So I really set the promise to my parents, like I will, become healthy again. And like for not even just New York City, but for myself to like grow and, prosper here. And then auditioned for Equinox, which was huge for me. Like that was something I was really working towards. I was super young and I was like, I'm not going to get this. It's like a whole process, which is insane. I feel like you're like auditioning for a movie with the amount of like rounds and people watching you. So definitely underweight there. And just over time, I think just letting go of all the preconceived notions in my head on like what I need to look like to society or like to get a boy to like me, like all those things that are kind of you're kind of brainwashed, I feel like in college from like media and people around you of how you should look. So just letting go and kind of starting fresh in New York, like not bringing anything with me from California helped me gain weight.
Do you feel like your friend group at the time in college like wasn't the most supportive of you and what you were going through?
It's not like they weren't supportive, but no one spoke on it. I think my mom especially was so confused by my boyfriend at the time, or my best friends at the time never were like, McKenna, because they saw me obviously every day. They never once said like, you're losing so much weight so quickly. Is everything okay? Like there's no one there to ask me those questions. So I think they were supportive in the sense, like the boy issues, the homework, like sorority drama, like all that stuff. But it's hard to approach someone. I mean, I even have those issues like now, like
conversation.
I see my friends and people I know losing weight drastically. And I know I'm so hyper aware now. I know what's going on. And even I sometimes am so apprehensive to bring it up because it's such a touchy subject.
But even the judgment, like you spoke about the judgment around not drinking, which I have experienced in the past as well. And especially through college, like the drinking culture in America is just, that's part of being in a sorority and a fraternity is binge drinking every single night. Like I used to have 10 drinks on a Saturday night and that's not normal.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I personally am not a big drinker at this stage of my life. I have one drink and I'm like, woo, I'm feeling it. And
I'm the same.
Like I'm drunk. Thank God. But I remember myself, like as someone that's always been into like the fitness industry and someone that like takes care of myself, I always felt judgment from people, even in college.
Yeah.
And because it's so ingrained in our culture to be binge drinking in college and not taking care of your body. But it's like at some point you need to take care of yourself and that is important. So I am happy that like society is coming around to this like sober culture and it's more accepted to be sober. Like, what is it?
Sober curious.
Yes. And just like have one or two drinks. But like that transition from like college to post grad, if you're just used to binge drinking all the time, like that's a really toxic culture to come into the city and think that that's normal. Like I've seen so many people out of college struggle with not just eating disorders, but binge drinking and alcoholism.
Yeah. I see it so many times.
And that judgment's just like, I guess my point to that is that it's upsetting to see that people sometimes can be so caught up in that binge drinking culture that they don't see when their true friend is like genuinely going through something hard.
Totally. It was like all for the scene, like all for the next party, all for the next event. And no one would everyone would live in the moment and not really focus on bigger issues. Like love them. Like I do have some friends from college that I still keep in touch with, or like people in the city that came from college. But going back to like the drinking part, I think my biggest struggle when moving to New York City as like someone that was sober and then like sober curious and like would not really drink that much is the dating part of it. So like I was like on all the apps like dating and I would be like so excited to meet someone, but I'm like in the back of my head so scared that they would be judging me if I didn't want to drink that night, or like if I have to wake up early to teach a class and they're like, why aren't you drinking? Or like, want another one? And it's like, I felt like that was the only way to be liked by a man, which was hard to like deal with at first. But
yeah, I mean, New York City drinking culture is also huge here. Like as much as it's trendy to be sober curious now, it's still such a huge part of especially dating culture here. You got to drink.
It's always a drink.
So what did you do on first dates? Would you just go and not say
I would either go and I never said I didn't drink. So like I think when I moved to New York City, I did drink. Like I did drink occasionally. Like if I wanted a drink, I'll have a drink. Even now, I don't really drink, but if I'm feeling it, my birthday is this weekend, like I'm gonna drink. But for the dates, I'd kind of just like agree to a bar, like agree to a cocktail or whatever, and I'd go, and then like I'd probably just like either fake having a drink, like I'd go tell the bartenders not to put alcohol, or I'd get there early and like get a drink and they wouldn't even ask, like they just assume there's alcohol in it. But if I really liked a guy, I would just get a drink.
Makena, that's not what I wanted you to say.
Like if I'm into him, like I'll get a drink.
You're like, I'll get a drink.
But no, it was hard, but I think the more comfortable I got with it, like I'd say like, oh, let's get coffee, or like, oh, let's go on a walk. Like my current boyfriend, we went on a walk as our first date, and then like that night we went going to a bar and like getting a drink, and it was fine. And like he's the most accepting person now. Like he is so A-okay if I'm not drinking, and he's so comfortable drinking when I'm not. Like I think I'm at this healthy stage in my life where like I'm so comfortable in saying no, and like I don't care if you're judging me. Like that's your problem if you're gonna judge me for not taking part in that, you know?
Yeah, but that's a hard place to come to. Like that takes a lot of confidence building to be able to get to the point the stage that you're at today. So that can definitely be really hard for people in New York to do. Even myself, someone that's not a big drinker, like if I don't want to drink, I'm like, oh, is a guy going to judge me for not drinking? Like you get self-conscious about it. How can you not?
But and it's sad that I like had to fake having alcohol in my cup. Like that is sad.
It is sad. Yeah. Like why should that be like normal?
Yeah.
That you have to be drinking everything, every time you go out with someone or do something social here. But there are such amazing wellness things to do in New York beyond drinking. So we need to talk more about that. But I do want to talk more about how, Equinox, when you were going through that training cycle, you said it was like an audition for a movie or a Broadway show. Can you like share more about like that process?
Of course. So I started as a member at Equinox. So I was working at Pure Bar, member of Equinox, would take like 1 million classes. Like I was so obsessed with the culture there, like the vibes, the community. Everyone was just so into it. Like no one half-asses anything at Equinox. Like I think everyone is just so determined to get their good workout in and then go enjoy the day. So taking all these classes, I would take the manager's class a lot. And I finally just went up to him one day and I was like, what do I have to do to get an audition here? Like I'm so interested in like the vibes at Equinox and everything. And he was like, you're really young. I was like 22 at the time. You're really young, but I can mentor you. So he like kind of took me under his wing. He was like this British man. I love him. Like to this day, he's like the best. And he would just kind of help me with cueing, like all the things that people taking classes don't really think about that are very important. Like just body cues, all those things. Confidence. Like I thought I was confident until he was like, the way you go up at the end of a sentence, like it shows that you're not confident in what you're saying. Like make it a statement. Like just little things with like vocal,
like your enunciation.
Yeah, like everything. Like you don't even think of it, but like it does matter. He kind of helped me with all that, and then eventually I went to my first audition, and I was so nervous, but just like butterflies. Like it's at the Rockefeller Equinox, so you kind of like walk through Rockefeller Center, and like you feel like so cool. But I did not get my first audition. Like they were like, no, like you're too young. And I was so disappointed, but
what's the typical like age cutoff?
I don't even know if there's an actual age
requirement.
But like I think just comparing me to everyone else, like I was significantly younger.
Yeah, you're 22 is a baby.
A baby. And like, I don't know. But
also I remember seeing photos of you at the time. Like I obviously stalked your Instagram and went back to like 2020, 2021. Like you were tiny.
I was
too.
tiny.
So that's like another thing is it, what kind of message is it sending? Like from Equinox's perspective, if they're hiring someone that was looking really unhealthy at the time, like did anyone at Equinox ever?
No one ever
comment?
said anything. No. And
does that like,
but maybe it was,
or no?
maybe it was a part of like the hiring process of like, okay, she doesn't look strong or like she looks unhealthy, so to speak. Like we can't hire her. And then I did come back and I was a little bit more my normal weight, and then I got it. So maybe it did have something to do with it. I think I see both sides, because if you were to stand back and judge all these people auditioning and some people look a little overweight and you didn't hire them, but they were an amazing instructor, I think people would get some backlash for having that judgment. But then on the other side, if you see someone too thin and you don't hire them because of that, it's like it's
poor judgment on both sides.
Yeah,
right.
Like it's like one side's not better than the other. But
I guess it's more just like, what are you trying to promote as a business?
Yes.
Like for your clients to model someone that's like extremely overweight and unhealthy in that capacity, or extremely unhealthy and just being too skinny.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't want your clients to be encouraging that that's like a normal body type.
Completely.
Right?
And I think a lot of people that have seen that journey of like underweight to now, they're very inspired that like I'm promoting like becoming strong and all these things. And like I'll be the first to say like I want to look a certain way. I'm never saying you can't think that or like you can't want to look a certain way. Like I work out for my mental health, my physical health, to look like to feel strong, to look strong. Like, I want those toned muscles. Like I just like that about myself. It's not a bad thing to want that. And I think when you get into like the body positivity, a lot of that stuff can be lost or judged. Like I'm more about like the body neutrality. Like you can love your body. Some days you won't love it, but like you move on and the next day will be like a different feeling. Like I don't think you always have to have this like I'm just working out for the vibes and the feels. Like you can want to look a certain way.
Yeah,
you know,
there's nothing
like
wrong with
there's
that.
nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people nowadays are so black or white with it.
No, I completely can relate to that. I remember living with a roommate of mine actually post college. It was a college friend, and she was not into fitness at all, which to each their own, but this is something that like I knew I needed to do, not only for like myself mentally, but again, no shame. I wanted to look and feel good. And I remember feeling judged every single time I went to the gym. She'd be like, "You're going to the gym again?" Or like, not even again. It's not like I was going twice a day. I was going to the gym for my one session a day, maybe working out 5 to 6 times a week. If I'm lucky if I even do that anymore. Let me just say, like, I am not crazy into working out as I was back then, but even 5 to 6 times a week, that's not crazy to go once a day. And I just remember leaving the apartment consistently feeling judged. And I'm like, this is my home and which should be a safe space. Just because you're not working out and I am, doesn't give you the right to judge like something that I'm choosing to do to better myself, whether that's physically or mentally. Like, why do you care? And it always brings me back to like, is that someone projecting their own emotions on me? Or is that like, I remember just feeling like, am I doing something wrong?
Yeah, I've had that
it's
too.
like that gaslighting in a workout setting, which I never thought could be possible for doing something that's bringing something positive to your life.
Totally. I've had that feeling too. Like even it's like vacation and I want to work out and my sister or like love her to death, but she just doesn't work out as much as me or like does not have the drive to. And it's like, why are you working on vacation? It's like, I'm going to feel so much better. Like I'm not working out to like quote unquote burn calories or like do this. Like I'm just working out because I want to and I feel amazing after. And I think the same goes for diet. I love eating healthy. I'm very specific about what I eat. I'm not going to be eating a lot of junk food, packaged foods, all that stuff. And like a lot of people say like I'm on a diet when it's like that is my lifestyle. And I now crave those foods because I've been nourishing my body for like that for probably since like 7th grade. Like I have not had soda in like 20 years. I kid you not.
I'm impressed.
Like
I can't say the same. Big Diet Coke girl over here.
But it's like I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're so strict." It's like I'm not strict. Like that's actually just now what I crave and what I'm used to. Like that's my normal. It might not be your normal, but there's so much judgment with all of it. It's crazy.
But also like I could easily have judged this girl in the past, right? You're sitting on your ass in the apartment, not moving your body. So why, like, shouldn't I be judging you?
Yeah.
And not the other way around? Like, that's what I always used to think. I'm like, get your ass up and let's fucking go to the gym, girl. Like, I'll bring you with me. Like, come on. And I would try to like be motivating to her because I was like, I'm going to throw it right back at you, sis.
But it's also so encouraging to go with other people. Like
totally.
So
it's
many of
more
my friends,
fun.
so many of my friends go to workout classes together. Then we'll like go to lunch or get a matcha after. And it's like you make it a full day thing.
It's an activity.
So it's something to look forward to.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So I want to talk more about what else you're doing besides Equinox, Pure Barre, all of the above. Where else are you teaching these days?
So currently it's Equinox, Fuze House are like the main gigs. So I'm like basically the least amount of full-time at both to make it full-time. And then I'm really trying to build out my own brand. So I feel like I've really leaned into what sparks my joy and like what a lot of girls are gravitating towards. And it's like that cardio sculpt, like rhythmic, beat-based, lightweight, high-rep class. So I'm really trying to build my brand around that. So I'm doing a lot of pop-up events and I'm teaching my format at Free People and Casa Cipriani. So I'm trying to just like disperse myself around the city, like really push my love for fitness and what I'm doing to everyone because I see people's like bodies changing, people getting stronger, and it makes me like high. Like I get high on like seeing people feel so good after my classes. And if I can push that on like everyone I meet, I'm going to be so annoying about it and like just like beg people to come to all my classes and everything because I want people to like fall in love with moving their body and find something that they can stay consistent with. So it doesn't feel like a chore. Like you're not dragging yourself out of the house to go to it. Like you're actually looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, I can say when I tried Fuze House, to be honest, Makena, I think it's a great workout. I didn't go to your class, but I'm like, is this really working or is the room just hot?
I know. Everyone says that.
Can you tell me? What's the secret?
I see.
What's the tea?
Like, I know my class. Not to throw anyone under the bus here. I know my class is programmed effectively. Like, I'm all about programming. So
how do you know if you're getting a solid workout? Do I need to have my Aura ring on to know?
you don't,
Like,
although
how do
I
I
love
know?
the Aura ring.
I do love the Aura ring.
It's
It's
more
house is a trip. I'm dripping
So, like-
in sweat. I feel
so
good.
like, yeah, if you're sweating, it does not mean you're getting a good workout, because if I could be lifting weights that are heavy, changing my body, and I'm actually like pushing weight, I'm not dripping sweat, but like my heart rate's not really that high, but I know I'm challenging myself with like the heavier resistance. Whereas Fuze House or like core power, like all these heated workouts, yes, you're going to sweat. You're in like 100+ degrees. But I think when you feel your muscles getting to that point of fatigue, when they're like literally quivering, like
Yeah, muscle failure, yeah.
you know you're like hitting a muscle for a long enough period to then break those muscle fibers, rebuild them with all that protein and all like the fuel afterwards. So you're actually like getting stronger.
Yeah. Okay.
But if a class is not programmed correctly and you're just like alternating legs and like doing like half-ass curls, like you're not going to see any change.
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is from being an avid fitness class girl, you can tell when the instructor is not good.
Yeah,
So,
you can.
Yeah, I've definitely been to a few of those, but not a few.
Which is like really awkward.
But it's just, you just know when they're like barely have planned out the workout, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate because you've paid $40 to go to class. Like, you should get your
Expensive.
money's worth out of it.
Yeah, completely agree.
So do you feel like Fuze House is inspired at all by Tracy Anderson? And what are your thoughts on her class?
Oh, Tracy Anderson. Fuze House is definitely not inspired by Tracy Anderson. It's definitely more Pilates based. So they're not to the beat of the music. It's not like a fast movements, no like dance. So definitely not inspired. I mean,
Do you believe in her workout?
Tracy Anderson.
Yeah.
So I took it, which I like, honestly, like I enjoyed it.
That workout just looks like bullshit. I'm
It's
sorry.
actually insane.
Yeah.
You don't hit, in my opinion, you don't hit muscles long enough to fatigue and like I was saying, like build muscle. However, you're moving nonstop, like your heart rate's high, so like you're getting some cardio in. I think the moves are just like fun to like learn. Like you look like a freak.
It looks ridiculous. You're like,
You're like doing gymnastics literally on the floor.
yeah.
But my boyfriend gets
Does he
those-
go to your
no,
classes? And Tracy Anderson?
No.
Oh,
He's never
I thought
taken
you were
Tracy
saying that.
Anderson.
I was like, this is
However,
great.
Tracy Anderson will pop up on his Instagram sometimes, and he hates her. He is like, you are actually throwing your shoulder out with all those like arm movements and like flailing side to side. Like he thinks it's hysterical, but
I just don't know how that could really be effective, but people do swear by it. So there has to be some methodology behind it. But okay, speaking about like your boyfriend and guys, like your classes are definitely more like female oriented, right? Are there any classes of yours where you've had guy clients?
yeah. So I obviously have been talking about the cardio sculpt. That's my favorite class to teach. However, I am like a badass athletic conditioning instructor. Like my classes are very hard. So that's like, that would be similar to like a Barry's class, like cardio and weights, no running, but like cardio in terms of like high intensity interval training. My classes are very tough, and those are like 50-50, like men, women. And those men show up, and I feel like they walk into class and they're like, oh, this will be easy. Like we're not using we're not using 100 pounds. Like we're not bench pressing, like all this stuff. They walk in and they do not know what's coming. Like it's just nonstop. And I feel like a lot of men are used to like, you know, doing some reps and then resting for a minute and then doing more. Like you don't rest. So I think it's really challenging for men when they put themselves in this environment, and then add all the women that are like gorgeous
And crushing it because they've done this like once a week at this point.
and they
weeks.
wanna show off. So they're like just like dying, and it's amazing.
Is there any like cringeworthy things that you've seen happen in any of your classes with men trying to like approach women, or things that guys have even said to you?
So I actually like went out.
Have you gone out with any of your clients?
I actually, yes, I have. But it was more so if I was seeing a guy, I'd be like, oh, come to my class. Because they're like fit, they're athletic.
Oh yeah.
And then
that's
they
a
like
good
take,
test too.
they
like,
take
can you handle my
class,
class?
and their form is awful, and it's the biggest ick.
Oh
yeah.
no.
And it's like, this is not attractive at all. Like this is embarrassing. Like their deadlifts are like,
you can't do my,
no.
my deadlifts.
So then it's like, okay, we can't
We're not gonna work. We're not a match. So I guess your boyfriend has a good deadlift. We can chat him out.
He has a good deadlift. No, the thing is, like, he likes to work out, but he's not obsessed with it. Like, he gets himself to the gym, he leaves, like, but he also loves to go out, like, eats whatever he wants. Like, he's really helped me kind of calm down my routine. Like, I'm such a routine girl, but I think it's nice to kind of let go sometimes and challenge yourself with it, because sometimes it's uncomfortable to not, stick to your like 1 hour doing this, second hour doing that. Like, he's helped me relax and not be so type A.
That's good. I think it would be too much if it's too type A people that like are
Yeah.
obsessed with working out and health, wellness, fitness.
No.
Like
That
you need
would
the
be
little
bad.
like balance and have
Yes.
some fun too.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, so what are some other stories of things that like I'm sure for you when a guy is struggling in your class, you're just like, I fucking won.
Oh,
Like,
I did win.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like the
Yeah.
biggest sense of like confidence ever. I'm like, I am actually challenging you. Like, this is amazing. I think more so the embarrassing stuff is I've made friends with a lot of these girls now, like in classes, like we're friends, because they're like, no, that's not embarrassing.
Oh, okay.
But they'll tell me that like guys from class have like asked them out. And I'm
So
like,
how do
wow.
guys do that? How do they approach a girl? Because that is the one thing, like, I feel like you can't approach a girl in the gym, but maybe it's different in a workout class setting.
I think after class, like if you're struggling together, it's kind of like, okay, we're in this together. Like we can chat. I remember when I was single, if there was like, and I was taking a class, there's a cute guy or something, like I would just say like,
Yeah,
I
but
would
that's
say
you.
something
That's
to
not the
like,
guy.
that's true. That's
Guys
true.
are so unwilling to approach nowadays. Actually, I had a question after I recently interviewed Bobby Westside. I don't know if
Okay,
you know him
yeah,
at all.
yeah.
But we were talking about how guys should not approach girls in the gym. Major
said
if,
that.
like, don't do that. Yes.
Oh,
But
interesting.
he's saying that in the setting of like, I'm on the mat right there and a guy's over there lifting. Like, don't just randomly approach
Yeah,
a girl.
I
Like,
agree.
that's going out of your way.
Yeah.
But if you're at the water station, whatever, like there's an easy way to do that. Some of my guy friends actually messaged and they were like, what is a good way to approach a girl at the gym if it's not, obviously being creepy and going over to you on your mat? Do you have any ideas?
Well, let me think.
Maybe from what you've seen in your classes.
Well, okay. I think it's easy for the okay, let's just say you think your instructor is hot and you're like, oh, I want to go up to her. Because this happened to me once. And I actually saw the guy for like 5+ months. Like we were actually
Wow.
like, let's just say like a situationship / dating. He just went up to me and was like, I really liked like that song. Like it was so stupid. Like we actually laughed about it for a while. And we're friends. Like it's like we're whatever. And he was like, I really like that song you played. Like what's your playlist? Like whatever. And he was like, I'd love to follow you on Instagram. Like you like seem so like cool, whatever. And obviously my Instagram's public. Like I answer whatever like any DM I get, I'm gonna answer. So then like later on he like DM'd me and oh, what are you doing? Like I think it was Thanksgiving like a few years back. Like what are you doing for this holiday? All this stuff. Like making it casual. I think just asking straight up like, do you want to go out with me is very like abrupt. Like you don't need to be hearing that. So I think slowly creating conversation maybe about something at the gym, or like if you see someone a lot, like you're there at 9 a.m. every day, the same girl's there at 9 a.m. every day, like acknowledging them maybe once, like say, oh, like I always see you, my name's like blah blah blah, like what's yours, and then over time building upon that.
Yeah, you can't just ask someone out
Yeah.
immediately. I like that. I think
You
that's
gotta
a
like
really good
drop,
strategy. Plant the seeds.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do just want to encourage people to go up to people in person, because in New York City especially, everyone is just so in their zone.
Mhm.
And if you are in a place like the gym or a workout class, a place of commonality and something that you're equally passionate about,
Yeah.
that is the perfect opportunity to meet
I
someone.
agree.
And I feel like there are just so many missed opportunities.
Mhm.
So
I think what could be tough is like people thinking like, oh, they might be dating someone, but like they will tell you like there's
Right.
nothing wrong with
but
being,
guys also don't want to come off creepy, which
that's true, but I don't find it
understand.
creepy.
I agree.
I don't find it creepy if they are not creepy. Like just be normal.
Yeah, you know what's creepy is my friend actually, she used to go to Crunch, which like Crunch is just ratchet. But actually I used to go to Crunch, but like love Crunch, for time and place for Crunch.
Yeah.
But she would go to Crunch and would always see this guy consistently. And one day she was like walking and he's like, hey, you dropped something. And she's like, what? And he's like, the key to my heart.
Oh God.
And they dated for a year.
Stop.
Yep.
See, I would find that like I would
So
probably like
cringe.
laugh and like haha, like that's funny, and then walk away.
So bad. So don't do that.
but I
But
think
also you never know, because
you-
they did date for a year.
you never know. I think like okay, if you said that and like you were like a like a funny guy that was like punny or whatever, like, and that lasted throughout the relationship and like you went on your date, you're funny, like that's like you're the funny guy. Like I
Yeah,
think that
that's
would
your, like,
work.
shtick. Yeah.
But if you said that once and then like you're actually like quiet and kind of like
Like a dud. Yeah.
like no, that would be
wouldn't be on brand.
cringe.
Right.
No.
Right.
Because then you like forced it, and then it's like this is really awkward.
it's approaching the gym that's a tough one, but I
Yeah.
think those are some good
But also
strategies.
girls
Girls should shoot their shots more.
Girls can shoot their shot.
Always. It's also way more attractive to a guy if a girl is
Yeah.
running to a guy in the gym. And people just are lurking and looking around like they want to be spoken to, but they're just afraid. So
I see
girls
that a lot.
need to shoot you must like witness like the
Oh
weirdest
my
shit.
gosh.
What's something strange you've seen recently where you're like
At the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen like, this is disgusting. I teach like the 6:30 a.m. class every day. And I see this like girl all the time, this guy all the time, separately for like probably years at this point. And then all of a sudden they walked in together and I'm like, are they dating? Like I've never really seen this. They are like making out on the stretch mat.
Oh.
6:30 a.m. Like fully like tongues down their throat. And I'm like, this is too much. And then I remember like looking at the concierge, like checking in for my class. And I'm like, did we know they were dating? Like, this is crazy. Because front desk knows everything.
They must
like,
see everything.
Everything. They hear everything. They hear all the drama, all the complaints. Like, they know everyone to a T.
So this couple, they must have met at the gym.
They met at the gym, but now they're
story.
not together.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah,
Okay.
they don't walk in together anymore.
They're done. No more makeouts on the mats.
On the stretch mat.
Oh God, that's
Yeah.
I can't imagine seeing that in public. That's just too much.
Yeah,
Too much
I'm glad
pressure.
I'm like not in the single realm anymore as like an instructor. Like, it's kind of nice to like, I post about my relationship. Like, people know I'm single and like, it's kind of nice to be that way.
Yeah, you're protected.
Or people know I'm not single.
Right. Yes. Let's correct that. She's
Let's
not
correct
single.
that.
Yeah. Protect the peace. You know, that's a good position to be in. You'd rather be the matchmaker than the one that people are flirting with.
I love setting people up.
It's so fun,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Any success stories?
Honestly, no. But like, I think
It's
just
just
like
fun.
going out with like people, like mutual friends, is very fun. It makes it so interesting, comfortable. It gives you something to talk about. Number one, like if there is some awkward space. But then if it doesn't go anywhere, you know, it could be a little awkward.
So what's up next for Makena in 2025 as we're a few weeks out?
Crazy that it's almost the end of the year. I'm really trying to, I hate the term build my brand because that's like so vague, but I really want to do more outside of these companies. Like, I love Equinox, I love Fuze, I love all these things, but cultivating a community that I feel connected to on like a deeper level, besides like the reoccurring time every Wednesday at 5:30, you come take my class. Like, I want it to be something where people are ditching their memberships to, you know, buy my class or like buy a ticket to this event. And I think that means just like, I mean, way out there in like years to come, like I really want to open my own studio. I feel like people used to ask me what I want to do and I had no idea. And I never thought of like opening my own studio in something that's like so overly saturated with fitness in New York City. But I think I've like really perfected my modality and people like it. So I think I want to eventually open something. But as of 2025, just doing more on my own, you know?
Yeah. Well, from another lesson from Bobby Westside was he was saying that Equinox trainers only get like a third of what an actual class costs. So they're really not
That's
seeing
the
a
personal
lot.
trainers.
Oh,
Yeah. Group
okay.
fitness, we make a lot more than the personal trainers.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
I don't know if he did group fitness at Equinox, but
No, he didn't.
yeah,
He didn't.
because they do not make money, which is really, they do get a lot of money taken away from them.
Okay, so it's different if you're a group fitness
Yeah.
trainer.
Group fitness, you have like a rate, and like that rate's not changing. Like, it's your rate. I mean, it could increase obviously, like if you
Over
apply
time
for
as you,
raises,
like,
but like
become more reputable,
the
yeah.
company doesn't take anything from that
Got it.
because
Okay.
you're not paying for classes. Like, it's included in your membership.
Right, whereas like an actual one-on-one training session would
Yeah,
be
you're
different.
paying individually.
Oh, so group fitness is the way to go.
Oh
not
yeah,
individual
group
training.
fitness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's a really good lesson here. But yeah, going back to like your modality and just like the way that you've been able to build your brand and this saturated New York City fitness space, like what do you think's been the biggest challenge?
I think a lot of people, this is my biggest actually issue. Everyone that likes fitness, even if they take my class, they love my class, I really want to become an instructor. Not everyone that likes fitness should become an instructor. And I think it's seeing people that I know take a class they want and like start posting things on Instagram or like, oh, I'm becoming like an instructor. Like I I'm doing a pop-up class. Like, girl, you're not certified. Like, I have so many certifications. I like my, like my degree was basically studying the human body. Like, I know so much, and so many other people, fitness professionals, know so much. And a lot of people think instructors don't know anything. Like, they're just like dilly-dally, like, like have a smile on their face and are energetic. Like, there's so many ways to fuck up your body if you're not cueing properly. And I think people just assuming it's an easy job has been really challenging, because I think even going back to dating, saying I'm a fitness instructor, I was like, I'm not as good as these people in finance. Like, I don't, like, I don't have that huge degree. I don't work at that huge, like, JP Morgan or like, all these things. And I think it's been challenging to find confidence in my job, to maybe even think I could take it to the next level. And I think I'm now at this point where, like, I know I'm good at what I do, and not everyone has, I mean, a lot of people tear you down on the way. So, like, not everyone has that confidence to keep going and, like, see the potential in themselves. And I think a lot of people have hyped me up. So I'm so grateful for, like, everyone around me. But, like, a lot of people have hyped me up and pushed me to believe I can become something bigger and, like, become my own studio or, like, my own business and, like, whatever brand. And that's what's, like, led me to even think I could do that. Like, that didn't happen all on my own. So I think having, like, a huge support system is huge. Like, you need that, because a lot of people drag you down on the way, and that gets in your head, and then you start marinating in those thoughts, and then you can kind of just quit or, like, stay stagnant, and you don't see any growth beyond, like, what you're doing in the moment.
Yeah. Were there ever moments where you wanted to give up and stop pushing
I think
through?
a lot of the comparison comes into that. Like, my forte is, like, the lightweight high rep, and a lot of girls in New York City are, young, gorgeous, like, bubbly, like, happy, like, so attractive to so many people. And, like, you're not going to be liked by everyone. And the comparison to those few individuals have made me kind of sit and wonder, like, if this is right for me. But then I have to look past that and know that, like, there are probably people just starting in the fitness industry that are saying the same thing about me. Like, they're comparing me to them and, like, whatever, and having those thoughts. It's never going to end. So it's like, I kind of just have accepted that that's a normal to compare, and it pushes me to, like, become something bigger and get past any negative thoughts I might have about myself or, like, my brand or, like, all those things. So in the end, it does help you grow. But I think in the moment, it's hard to, like, see that.
Yeah.
Like, even with a podcast, like, there's so many podcasts out there.
I was literally going to say the same thing. Like, there are moments where I'm like, all right, I'm not cut out for this. Like, I'm going to just stop. But I see a vision. I see that there is potential, and I'm trying to push through. So it's definitely been that breaking point of, like, okay, do I want to keep doing this and investing in it? Because, like, I'm investing in this, right? Like, this is something that's coming out of my own pocket because it's something that I'm passionate about and want to do. And but showcase people like you and friends of mine that are doing really unique, amazing things and pursuing their passion. I think there is something here and a way to, like, showcase that and inspire people. But yeah, it's fucking hard. Like, I'm not seeing the reward. And I think I'm so used to, in our culture, we're so used to, like, instant gratification.
Yeah.
And if I don't get that instant gratification, I feel let down. So, like, having the mental fortitude to, like, push past that, I think really is just an example of someone that's strong and committed and willing to, like, truly go for it. So I'm going to start channeling the Makena in myself because it's hard.
It is hard, but you feel amazing, like, when you can look back and see even just a little bit of progress, because that kind of, like, is fuel to keep going. Like, I always think about, 15 years, 20 years from now, looking back, and it's like, fuck, like, I didn't do that thing I wanted to do. And it's like,
yeah, no regrets.
Like, you can't do that, like, I can't start a fitness, like, empire when I'm 40. Like, I'm gonna have kids. Like, my body's not gonna be able to, like, work out as much. Like, I need to do it now. And, like, just like with you with the podcast, like, you have something so special that you want to bring to other people, even if it's just a small audience to start with. Like, that's only gonna grow. And I think you need to just, like, hype yourself up more. Like, people need to be selfish sometimes. Like, know you're amazing, and, like, keep that in the back of your head throughout every day forever, because everyone's going to try to drag you down and like pull you to the floor. And like that cannot happen because I've been there and it sucks. Everyone's been there and it sucks. But you just need to see above it and know you're going to like freaking kill it.
Oh, that's really, really great advice. Thanks, McKenna.
Of course.
Bigger picture. You're absolutely right. So with the holidays coming up, I would love to just hear advice from you to listeners maybe struggling with like going home for the holidays, struggling with food insecurity that they may have. Like, what are you doing to stay positive during this like crazy busy time that can be really difficult for a lot of people?
Completely. Yeah. I definitely have had that stress around food in the past, which never goes away, honestly. Like it always kind of stays in the back of your head. Like you can learn ways to cope with stuff and to push past certain thoughts, but they're always going to trickle back in. So I think in terms of the food and even just like over exercising to, you know, earn food, I think that's a huge thing over the holidays. Like, oh, you're going to be eating more. You're going to be eating more cookies, eat more like carbs. Like I need to work out more. Like that's not the case. Like I always think about like one day, if you've never worked out in your life, you work out one day, your body's not going to change. It's like you're going to feel maybe sore the next day because you haven't moved, but like, and like the same thing goes, like if you don't work out one day or if you don't eat perfectly, quote unquote, one day, your body's not going to change. And it's like,
you might feel bloated.
You might feel bloated.
You
can take those like digestive enzymes, but it's like such a small thing. Like so many times I've skipped amazing social events because I was scared to eat in front of people. And like, if I didn't want to eat, then people would be asking me questions and like, I didn't want to throw off progress, all this stuff. It's not worth it. Like the bigger picture, like, you know, like spending time with friends, family is so much more important. And people need to get out of their head that going off track for one day is going to ruin everything. Or like I think about it all the time, and I'm in the industry as a professional. Like it's hard, but I think being okay with it. And I also think that, you know, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, all these like big holidays where you're like in celebration of like all this food, like you don't need to stuff your face until you feel sick. Like think of it as a dinner. Like every other dinner, you're just having, you know, those highlighted dishes that are like the holiday, like turkey, like mashed potatoes, whatever, like tied to the holiday.
Moderation, just a little
moderation's
bit of everything.
key. Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't need to like stuff their face, and I think a lot of people on Instagram and TikTok are always just talking about how you need to be working out 10 times more like the morning prior to then earn your calories and earn your desserts, and it's like it's just too much. It's not that serious. I always think that like nothing is that serious. It's food, it's fuel, like it's one day. So going into it with an open mind and not really overthinking anything.
Yeah, it can be hard.
Yeah,
really
it's
hard for people, but easier said than done, of course. But that's really great advice. So thank you for sharing. The one thing I'll ask you, just because I'm sure you're eating this right now, have you tried coconut cult?
Yogurt? Okay, I'm dying to.
Me too. It's sold out at Whole Foods right now.
Oh, really?
I knew you would know what it is. Yes, because I'm like a big probiotic fermented food girl. Like I have major stomach issues. So not major.
Me too.
Oh, okay. We can bond over that.
It's like the gut. Oh my God.
The gut.
My gut's terrible.
Gut brain health, like gut and brain connection is everything.
It's huge.
So I am just always like, what can I do to eat better? And what can I do to like, I just have IBS. It's just a Jewish thing. All Jews, we have bad
I'm not
stomachs.
Jew, but I promise you I have IBS.
No, it's not. It's like if you can't be diagnosed with anything else, then you have IBS. But yeah, coconut coal, people swear by it. You just eat like the 1 teaspoon or tablespoon, and it's very fizzy yogurt. Apparently, I don't know.
It's like
I was
very
wondering if you
I've
had
tried it,
but
I never have consistently eaten it. Like I knew about it like a long time ago before it was like an actual thing. However, I am on the sea moss.
Oh, that's
like a scoop of sea moss a day.
What is that supposed to do?
It's supposed to help with your gut, like digestion and skin.
Okay.
So I was sent it in like a package, and I have been like recording myself having a spoon every day, and I'm going to see like the transformation.
Okay. So no results.
I mean, like
to be reported yet.
I have to like look at the videos to see if there's been anything, but I think it's like you got to be consistent with it. It's only been like 10 days. But I need to do the coconut as well.
Yeah, I think that combo is what I've seen.
And people say they actually like the flavors.
Yeah, they do have some good flavors.
Yeah.
I think we got to be careful about which one we pick.
Yeah.
But,
The plain like tart would not.
No. Apparently too fizzy.
Yeah. And fizzy yogurt sounds really weird.
It sounds disgusting, but you just gotta like suck it down and pray for the gut.
Yeah.
Pray for the gut.
It's all
health
for the
return.
gut.
It's all for the gut, brain, love. Well, thank you so much, Makena.
Thank you.
It was so great to chat with you. Where can people find you?
Instagram, TikTok not made by Makena. That's not my name anymore. Makena Diehl, MakenaRaediehl.
Okay, amazing. Well, I look forward to taking a class of yours soon.
Yes,
Since I've
anytime.
only tried Fuze House without you, and I've been told I have to go to Makena. So
You gotta come.
I can't wait.
Come sweat. It is hard.
I believe you. Thanks,
Thank you.
Makena.
Thank you. That was so fun. Yeah, so my mentor at the time was this British man, and he basically coached me on all of those like fine-tuning things that you like wouldn't even think about when you're instructing. So I used to a lot of the time. I thought I was this confident person, like with like speech, acting, like all the things I did as a younger girl. I would always kind of bring the words up at the end of my sentence, and I would sound very unsure of what I was speaking of instead of just like ending the sentence like point blank period. So just being more stern in what I'm saying, like instead of being like, Kayla, can you please tuck your hips for your deadlift? Like, Kayla, tuck your hips. Like, I'm not asking you, please. Like, you do it and I say, like, just being more confident in my ways of coaching.